I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris, and we are Guys with Issues. And in today's issue, we are going back to Ninja Turtles, but to the future. In the Last Ronin.
But
In a
I
DeLorean.
knew you were. Oh man, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. But we are talking about the Last Ronin.
Yep.
5-part miniseries by Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman. They brought the old team back together.
Sweet.
got the band back together.
Well, different artists, but yeah, they actually worked together on it. But bit. So did you listen to this week's episode to be able to verify if things were or last week's to see if things were left in?
Nope.
Surprising nobody.
Oh, we have things to talk about before that, though.
We do.
Like, we have actual stuff to share.
Surprisingly.
We always have stuff to share, though.
Right, but the last few times it's been food related, right?
And some of today's.
What is better to share than food?
That
Oh.
was a good point.
Yeah, I love sharing food. There's just something that connects people over food.
Right. It's the food.
Hunger,
Hunger, yeah.
you know.
Now, I am going to say, I'm not going to talk about the event, but we did celebrate my son's 5th birthday. That was cool.
Yeah.
Had a good time. But we have real stuff to talk about, like a trip with one of our listeners. We actually hung out with multiple listeners. Will didn't because, according to our coworker, who's a good friend of, Patrick and I, in their words, Will didn't go to the Taste of Philly.
That sounds about right.
But he wasn't feeling well, and it was very snowy.
Is this one of my...
No, this is when we were going to go get a sandwich.
Oh.
And you were like, I'm not going to go.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't technically
Because
podcast related.
Now, I wasn't supposed to share that because that person was like, I don't want him to not like me. And I was like,
know exactly who you are.
And I said, he'll appreciate that you said that about him.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was like, yeah. So Taste of Philly.
Taste of Philly.
We were told in Patrick's yearning for a good sandwich.
In Roanoke, Virginia.
Yeah.
Not Virginia.
Not Virginia.
But in Roanoke.
But in Roanoke, yeah.
There's a little sandwich place. I mean, it's small.
It's small, yeah.
Like, there were, 2 tables and the sidebar we sat at?
Yeah.
And when I say sidebar, I don't mean like a bar. We weren't in a bar.
We're
talking about
on
like a
long
deli
shelf.
counter kind of shelf. Like, it was a shelf.
It was a shelf.
Yeah.
With bar stools on it.
Because when people leaned on it, it almost wanted to let go.
Right.
But Patrick, what'd you think?
I thought their sandwiches were amazing, and I want to go back.
So we got Philly cheesesteaks
We did.
because that's what they're known for because they make them traditional because he's from Philly.
Right. And
But
he imports
you-
all of his stuff from Philly, I believe.
Yes. But you also got like a
Just
normal.
an Italian tub.
How was that?
I want to get it again.
It was that good?
It was delicious.
It wasn't even toasted.
No.
But like the bread was the kind of bread you were talking about. You when you said you wanted a good sandwich.
Yeah, it was good.
Cool.
Yeah.
You missed out. Will. You
Yeah.
missed out.
I did.
Will was zoning out. He was listening to Patrick.
I was listening.
think.
He was falling asleep to my sultry voice.
Yes, the soft tunes. Yeah. I almost said your last name and stuff.
Yes.
The self tunes of beep.
What a terrible thing to have to insert. So, yeah, the sandwich, the Philly steak and cheese was good. It was good.
It was.
I
It
enjoyed
was tasty.
They also do
like to eat that.
house shoestring fries. They make them in house.
Yep.
Cut up the fries.
From actual shoestrings?
Yep.
Or?
Yep. They ask if you want them to use your shoestrings. But we both
a little
kept ours.
cheaper.
It is. They knock a couple bucks off if
Sure.
you use your
Nice.
shoestrings. But I will say the one thing that we're going to warn you not to get The breaded mushrooms.
The breaded mushrooms.
Nope.
No.
No, not even a little.
No.
I got them thinking, man, with everything else being so good, I bet they have good breaded mushrooms. But I'm pretty sure they're just like frozen breaded mushrooms that they throw in the deep fryer. They're not breading them there. They're not where their fries are done there. Their mushrooms are probably just bought and thrown into a fryer.
Right, but don't get us wrong. We still finished those mushrooms.
We still ate them.
Yeah.
But it was just your normal like everyday breaded mushroom. Nothing special.
Nothing special.
So save the money. Don't buy that if you get something there, something extra.
Sure.
Don't buy those. So.
But sandwiches,
But the
very good.
sandwiches and the fries were pretty good. If you like shoestrings,
Yeah, the fries were good.
Man, that is so hard. I keep tripping over shoestring.
You're tripping over your shoestrings. Is that what you're saying?
Dang it.
That's what he's saying.
Why you always tie your shoes, kids. PSA.
Yeah,
Life coach.
life coach. Well,
Life coach Will.
I'm just gonna say I think shoestring fries are the most annoying kind of fry to eat
why?
Yes.
because it's just
Why?
like every time I have them, they're usually soggy.
Okay,
And, like,
that's true. They're generally not as crispy.
I enjoy a nice crisp fry, okay? And then it's like you can never just pull. You gotta like clump them. Like you always just
Okay.
like clump and then dip.
Clump and dip.
And so like you just get a big wad of soggy potatoes.
Yeah, but listen, I like eating big wads of soggy potatoes. That is such a terrible phrase.
Put it on a shirt.
I don't want to wear that shirt in public. I like
Hey, just wear it to bed.
yeah, I
Well,
guess so.
If you think about it, it's a great conversation starter.
It really is.
People be like, "What's your shirt about?" I'd be like, "Well,
Well, you see, I have this podcast.
And no, it's not about potatoes.
It has nothing to do with potatoes.
I can see where you're coming from on that. I do. I can understand that. Shoestring aren't my favorite either.
But those were good shoestring fries.
But I enjoy. I didn't drop it. It fell out of my pocket.
Gravity made that happen.
Gravity stole my phone right out of my pocket. But I enjoy. Like, what kind of French fry do you like then? Like, is there?
so like if you go to Five Guys have a good fry.
Okay. But they're not.
I wouldn't
like,
think those are
crispy.
crispy enough.
But
They're crispier.
so is it
And then if
because
they-
they're thicker that you
A
like
little
those
bit
a little
thicker,
better?
but you can't go too thick. Like if you go.
So do you like steak fries, or are you
certain steak fries are okay.
I don't like
But
steak
like-
fries. It's too much.
So, because if a steak fry gets too excited, it becomes like a potato wedge, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I like the fries at Hunter's.
Those are good.
Hunters,
Like
does
the
have good
biggest
fries.
fry, I think.
Rally's has good fries.
Ooh, Rally's
I
does
have not
good
eaten
fries.
in Rally's.
They're
in
like shoestring, but
15
they're
years.
crispy shoestring.
They are
They're
crispy.
slightly bigger. 15 years,
Yeah, it's been over 15 years.
dude. They have some of the best chili cheese dogs you can get at any chain.
I mean, we're going to have to test this theory.
Okay,
We're going to have to get them from there and then some from Portillo's, and we'll see.
now, yeah, Portillo's is a
Yeah.
close second to me. They are.
I think Red Robin's fries are about as big as you can get without
For
being
steak
too
fries, you mean?
big as far as steak fries go.
I could see that.
I like their they do like a garlic parmesan one, right?
It has
Yeah,
been a while
yeah.
since I've eaten there, but I think I remember it.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I was at a Red Robin because there are so many places that do burgers now that when I first went there, I feel like my burger options were much smaller as far as restaurants.
Yeah.
But burger restaurants have become such a thing that it's hard for me to want to go to Red Robin.
That's because burgers are delicious.
Yes.
Yep.
Look at us talking about food.
Talking about food,
It's because we had to talk about going with Joel
right?
because Joel was like, "Listen, if you need sandwiches,"
And I
gotcha.
did.
and I went along,
Who am I kidding?
and Joel's kids came.
I still do.
Oh,
You still need-
there's your kidding.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it was a good time.
couple of kiddens.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah.
We did. So the other thing, well, before we jump into our other banter piece, you had Venturi Pizza.
I had Venturi Pizza.
In Goshen.
In Goshen.
What'd you think?
It was delicious.
It is.
I want to go back.
My wife's favorite restaurant.
Really want to get another one of the truffle pizzas because that was so good.
Yeah, is that the one you let me try? It was, right?
Yeah.
Was that the one you had the leftover?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it a lot.
Well, I mean, you tried
Their
both
mushrooms
of the
were good.
leftovers.
I didn't try the margarita.
Didn't you?
I've had it before. I tried the truffle.
Okay,
I had one piece.
I made you guys have the.
Yeah.
Right.
That was really good. I agree.
was. And it was better at the
Oh, I'm sure fresh.
place.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Love a good margarita pizza.
They have some of the best margarita pizza I've ever had.
It is very
That
good.
margarita pizza we got at Gen Con when we went, we ordered.
Mm-hmm.
That was some dang good margarita pizza.
It was. Gen Con.
I don't remember doing that with you. I must have
I
been
don't
with
think
my
you
sister.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
You were at Gen Con that year.
I was.
But
I still remember you picked up a role-playing game and you said you were going to run a game for us.
I did do that, didn't I?
You did.
Polaris? Was that
Yeah.
Polaris?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I read the rule book going, I'll take it over. I'll figure it out. And I read the rule book.
I feel like I didn't know this part. Go on.
Yeah, and it's super interesting the way that it's built and designed. And that's as far as we got.
Yeah.
But Polaris, super cool game. Basically the idea that it's kind of a cyberpunk submarine kind of
Yeah.
like underwater sanctuary.
You know,
it's cool.
talking about submarines,
Oh, good segue.
we also did something else.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were a part of a submarine.
Yeah. With an excellent captain.
He did a great job.
Yep.
His radio man dropped the ball at one point, and he had to pick up the slack.
And his first mate dropped a mine
Right.
at one point and then helped shoot a torpedo.
To be fair, I fixed my mistakes. We got back on track.
got back on
We got
track.
back on track. So we were like, I was one spot off at the end, so I felt pretty good. One spot's pretty minimal.
They
in
have
that game.
no idea what we're talking about.
So, do you want to tell them? Do you want to tell them?
Sure. So we played a game called Captain Sonar with my sister and brother-in-law
Because they won the butt shovel contest.
because they won the butt shovel contest.
They said that's what they wanted their prize to be.
Yep.
Instead of being on the podcast, they wanted the podcast to come to them.
Right. And then
Yeah.
we beat them at Captain Sonar because we were all on the same ship.
Well, technically, we're 1-1. They
Well,
won-
we were
they-
being
they-
taught
That was a
game.
practice thing, and I'm not counting it, dang
It was turn-based practice teaching, and then we played a real game and whooped them. Not really
I
whooped
wouldn't
them.
say we whooped them.
They were like a
It
move
was a
away.
very close
They were
game.
like a move
Yeah.
away from killing.
They knew exactly where we were. Yeah.
But it was an epic finish.
It was the first game I ever played where like everybody's constantly doing something. Like both teams are like real time moving and figuring stuff out. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I really liked that
Yeah.
one.
It's a fun game.
It is considered a party game, which I find interesting because there's a lot going on.
You need a lot of people. That's why it's considered.
It
I was
is-
gonna say
you need 8 people.
I mean, you
but-
can do it with less, but then more people have to pay attention to more things.
Yeah.
It's best with 8 people, in my opinion.
Plus, it does get a little rowdy. It was fun.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of funny moments, like little things that, like, having to draw the thing and then the other person has to sign off, and like it was a good experience. There is a lot of fiddly things going on, but it's pretty straightforward though.
Yeah. The rules sound a little complicated, but they're really not.
No, once you play it once, you're like, oh, I get this. I get it.
Especially because in the game the roles are divided up, so not everybody has to pay attention to all the rules.
Right.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like,
That's true. You only need to really know the rules for what role you're playing.
unless you're the captain, in which case you kind of have to keep track of all of the rules and what everybody's doing. And
Right.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As the captain needs to.
And the captain occasionally needs to point at the table and be like, "Stop destroying my sonar systems."
That was
That's really what got us in that practice round.
I just like that you leaned over and you're like, not that one, that one. Hey, sometimes you got to step in, right? The captain has to give orders.
Yeah, our engineer didn't have a lot of life experience yet.
No. Yeah, I mean that's what when you're like under 10 years old, it's hard to be part of a submarine.
Sure.
I'm just kidding. That statement is true.
That statement is true. But that implies something that's not.
Hey, let the audience decide.
Sure.
We also played the game Earth, which
Was that the name of it, just Earth, or was it
Earth.
something else?
it's Earth.
Okay.
We played Earth.
And there was no dirt.
No, there was lots of dirt.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of dirt.
Yeah,
But no, like, actual dirt.
Well, yeah, it
well,
was
I mean,
cardboard and stuff. 'cause
it's
a
cardboard
game.
dirt. Has a lot of cardboard dirt. But here's the thing. We thought it was fun. Did we have fun? Did we like that?
Yeah.
But it was it has a lot of cards, and it feels like some of the game is too heavily geared towards being lucky on the cards you happen to draw, and the decks are so large, or the deck is so large, that it seems to water down the possibilities, in my opinion, a little bit. If any of you out there in podcast land or have played Terraforming Mars or Ark Nova, supposedly this is in line with those types of games, but plays a little quicker.
Yeah, but I still think I liked Ark Nova a little better.
So on the Board Game Snobs Discord that I'm on, I brought up that I played Earth, and the only other person that had played it there said that they too felt like the random luck side of the draw was a little too skewed in that game, and that they prefer the other two games over it. But they aren't huge fans of those deck-driven
Sure.
like mechanics or something. Anyway, we're not a board game podcast.
But we could be.
We could easily be a board game podcast. But here's a question for you, Will. That was very different than most of the games you've played,
Pretty different, yeah.
because you haven't played a lot of Euros.
No.
So what was your overall feeling about that game? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
I enjoyed how active it was because, you would play, like, one player would choose an action.
It was very straightforward,
Yeah,
too. The actions were very straightforward.
They'd get to do more, but everybody got to do something. So you were always you were never just sitting there waiting for your turn, which I kind of enjoyed because it kept you active, kept you paying attention.
Right.
But it's
Very
one of those
little
games.
downtime.
Very little downtime. It's one of those games you'd have to play it a couple times in order to get experienced enough to really understand. Like, playing it the first time is kind of confusing, but then, like, if we
But
played
as
it again,
right.
I feel like I would do a lot better because I came dead
Probably.
last. And it's just like, you'd have to, like, because you could sacrifice some pieces to get other stuff. And so knowing, like, oh, in the early parts of the game, I need a lot more, dirt tokens. So you can sacrifice your sprouts or whatever to get more
Right.
dirt so you can put more cards down. And then being able to actually paying attention to the score modifiers probably also helps. But I kind of lost track of all that. So, like, one of the points, like, some of the downsides, yeah, there's random, and there's a lot you got to keep track of because there's that whole separate card that has all the other extra scoring stuff, and then you have one card that, at the end, I think Christoph scored like 70 points or something just off of that.
Ridiculous.
Right.
And it wasn't until like 3/4 of the way through I remembered I even had something like that.
So, but
Yeah,
overall,
but
you enjoyed
overall,
it?
I did have fun.
Cool. I'm glad. I wondered. I've been wanting to ask you, like, your broader thought on it. But yeah, we want to say thank you to Christoph and Heather.
Yeah.
We had a really fun time,
Big thank you.
and you
Very,
gave us really tasty snacks.
I was
Yep.
gonna say they were very
Hospitable.
hospitable. I almost said hostile, but I'm like, nope, that's not the right word.
That's not the
There's
right
supposed to
word.
be a P in there.
Well, I mean, Christoph is competitive. He was a little hostile when he was shooting at us. So,
Yeah.
He had this
definitely.
maniacal grin on his face, and he's like, yes, more torpedoes, more.
oh, that sounded just like him. I think he was cackling when he did. But no, we had a lot of fun. We want to do it again. I was looking at my games that I want to sell pile, and I pulled Wasteland Express delivery service out of it, thinking maybe it'd be a good trip to take that over and have them play it with us.
Well, we got to play Windward again sometime too.
Yeah. I don't want to play that again. I want to go out on top. You play without me. I want my one game experience of that to be when I had an epic win.
So you're one of those guys that
I retired.
You go golfing for the first time, your first ever official swing on any golf course. You get a hole in one.
I'd be like, I'm
you
done.
sell your clubs and you never walk into a golf course again.
I'm like 100%. I am done.
That's
I can't.
hilarious.
I can't exceed this. Yeah.
I actually know a guy that happened to him. Like
Shut up.
No, he would go to the field behind his house with his sons and he would drive. So like he had a lot of experience in just like driving golf balls, but he'd never actually gone to a course. And so like it was like Father's Day or his birthday or they were on vacation, whatever. Him and his boys went out to an actual golf course. First hole, swung, hole in one. He never golfed again. He's my parents' mechanic for years.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. But
That would make me want to golf more.
because you're like, I must be good at this.
Right. And then I would get disabused of that notion extremely fast.
You're like, wow, my perception of everything is changing the more holes I play. And then you'll think back on this story and go, I should have quit.
I should have quit.
quit.
Should have quit.
Well, you do golf weekly right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you have tons of fun doing it.
I do.
So,
I don't do very well, but I have tons of fun
you
while
know,
doing it.
Will loves to golf.
I know.
You still going to that virtual golf
Yeah.
thing?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Smacking the ball, hitting the screen. It's not a screen.
I think Will and I have a tentative golf plans this summer.
Yes, we do.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I have tentative plans.
What are they?
I don't know. They're tentative. I haven't decided. It's down the road.
So you tentatively have plans?
Yeah. Yeah. Good ones. That'll be fun.
Of course.
Tentatively plans to have plans.
Tentative
Yeah.
plans to have
Tentative plans.
tentative plans.
Ooh. That's.
It's the most non-committed a person can probably be.
I know, right?
I may make plans down the road.
Maybe.
About making some plans down the road. Okay.
I might think about making some plans at some point in the future.
But I plan to. Oh. I've planned for this next part.
At least somebody has.
And you know what? Sometimes the best plan is the direct approach. Sometimes
Right.
you just got to assault from the front gates
Sometimes.
Salt those front gates.
like a French fry.
Just not the shoestring kind.
Front
'Cause you might-
shoestring front gates.
Because you might trip if it's the
If
shoestring.
you had front gates that needed tied like a shoe,
I got nothing.
okay.
I was just getting ready.
No, because we have a synopsis on the way. A synopsis on the way. Boy, I cannot talk today.
That's
I mean,
okay.
I can talk a lot, but I can't say things. I just talk without saying anything. My words.
Sounds like our podcast.
Just a bunch of words that don't mean anything. Maybe that's our issue.
Maybe.
Oh, man.
Nice to bring it back in the circle. I don't know what that means.
So,
So, synopsis time. I remember this time. The Last Ronin focuses on an older Michelangelo as he fights against Shredder's grandson, Oroku Hiroto. 16 years ago, Splinter, Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael, were killed in the fight against the Foot Clan. Devastated, Mikey spends years in isolated training in the mountains. After feeling like he has mastered all the skills his father had to teach him in the journal Splinter kept, he returns to New York to finally put an end to the feud that claimed his family's lives. After his first attempt failed, he wakes up to find that April is still alive, having thought she died in the explosion that killed her husband, Casey. Not only is she alive, but she also gave birth to a daughter named Casey. April and Casey are leaders in the rebellion against Hiroto, who has claimed all of New York as his territory. Mikey teams up with them in one last showdown to determine the freedom of the city. Will he avenge his family, or will Hiroto dine on mutant turtle soup? Find out today on Guys with Issues.
Noise.
Ding. What was
Ding, ding.
I need, nobody said the word.
But you dinged.
I did ding. Let's not start that again, okay? Okay.
Starting again.
For the first time, for the last time.
For the first. So, overall, what'd you guys think? Will, you pick this one?
I did pick this one. I had heard quite a few good things about it. Like, it was on some people's top reading lists. It came up in some of my YouTube videos, like suggestions. People would talk about it. I think when we were first starting this, it was one of those things I put on our little spreadsheet about, comics we would like to read.
Right.
So I finally had a chance to like slide that in there. Now we read it and I like it.
You did?
I did. I
Enjoyed
really
it?
like it. Yeah.
Cool. Petruchio.
Yes. Had really good art. Yes.
Did you like the art? Did you enjoy the art overall?
Overall, yeah. I like how I had like, the main aesthetic, but then like when Mikey was like having his flashback moments, they were in like that old black and white, like the original, like when we read the first.
Uh-huh.
It was like back in that art style.
Right.
And then, some of the other flashbacks that happened were kind of different too. So it kind of let you know exactly what timeline you were kind of in, because it did jump around quite a lot, but I never, just by like changing the aesthetic, you can kind of understand exactly like where you are, like what you're reading, and
Right.
Oh, yeah.
it was nice.
It wasn't like Action Comics.
Oh, where sometimes you're like, is this now?
What's
Is it
going
later?
on?
Is this the future?
When am I?
Well, this was not written by Grant Morrison. So Tom Waltz and Kevin Eastman worked on this, who are the ones that wrote the issues of the Ninja. They're the main original IDW Ninja Turtles creators, the ones that did those 8 issues that we read a couple months back.
Okay.
That we all liked a lot, with
It's right there on
the
Pat's
science
shelf.
argument, the mutagen thing.
Right.
So, so that the creative team behind that was part of this, along with Peter Laird, who is one of the original co-creators, and it's the first like Turtles book in years and years and years that I think he had his name attached to. I think, I want to say he worked on issue 100 of the IDW series. That was like the first time he'd come back with Kevin Eastman, and they worked together again. But this is based off of a concept that they had back when they were doing the original series, like that we read issue 1 of, like early on.
Right.
So the original series from the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
This was after they wrote like issue 11 of that original series. They started spitballing what to do next, and they were like, well, what would the story look like if the Turtles were like 30 years in the future? And like they just started like doing all these notes and coming up with these ideas. And so Kevin Eastman revisited those notes to create this story.
Cool.
So it was
And you
like
could tell they
31
kinda-
years in the making.
Oh.
You could tell they
I guess that
Just
would be
like
late. Sorry,
Will.
I said early 80s, mid to late 80s, actually. Sorry.
You could tell they went back to those roots because it was a lot bloodier, a lot darker, than,
Right.
And very like, I'll show them who bleeds thing again.
Yeah.
Like it had that kind of
Yeah.
dialogue again.
That's literally my first note, because I take notes when I read these.
Yeah, I have been too.
Literally, my first note was, "This is dark,"
Yeah.
because
So-
it is. It's a dark story.
So a lot of people compare this to the Batman story, The Dark Knight Returns, which is the Frank Miller story that's super famous. If you look up Batman must-read lists, I would say over half of them, if not the vast majority, put The Dark Knight Returns as like the number one must-read Batman story. And it is also about Batman in the future, and like society is terrible, and it's the Batman that you kind of get with Batman v Superman. That's where that fight takes place. That's based, like the movie based it on. It's from Dark Knight Returns. Like his bat armor and all of that is from that comic book. And Frank Miller that created it is also the one that created things like Sin City, and he created 300. But this is compared to that by a lot of people. They basically just call it the Dark Knight Returns of Ninja Turtles, because this has a very similar vibe to it as that comic.
Okay.
There was more political commentary and importance in The Dark Knight Returns, which is why it's considered such a societal piece, and why I think it has the longevity it has. I don't think that this would be lauded for that kind of thing at all. This is more of just an entertainment piece, where Dark Knight Returns would be among something like Watchmen. But The Last Ronin definitely has that, like, I don't know if you'd call it post-apocalyptic, but kind of that vibe. That
dystopian
like,
future.
Dystopian future. That would be a better description.
I concur.
So did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah? I've been wanting to talk about it. I bought it as it came out.
Right.
So I subscribed to it. The issues were expensive because they're bigger than normal and they have a different binding, and they're like $9 an issue when you buy them singles. When the first issue came out, it had a low print run, and the aftermarket was going for like $80 for issue 1 or something. So I actually have a first print issue 1 and a second print because I didn't want to open the first print.
Sure.
I didn't want to bend the spine
Yeah.
because they're bound. And dumb collector stuff, right?
Dumb collectors.
But so I
Happens
actually
to the
have
best of us.
two issues of 1. But yeah, I enjoyed it the first time I read it. And this was one case where I felt I had kind of forgotten a lot of aspects of it, though. It's weird. I did not retain much of it my first read. So revisiting it felt less like a revisit and more like a fresh read this time. It was weird.
That's cool though.
It is, because usually on my revisits, my opinion drops a little bit because I've already, like, I know the surprises, and I know.
Oh, yeah.
Now I remembered it was Michelangelo. That's a huge twist, by the way. So when they announced this and nobody knew which turtle it was, they had like 6 months of advertising for this comic before they ever released it.
Yeah.
And then, the last page of the first issue shows that it's Michelangelo.
Right.
Which I think they did it. I could see that because it was because he has the voices of his brothers in his head basically throughout the whole thing until the very end.
Till the last issue.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, I've had
He's
enough.
haunted by the ghosts of the turtles.
Yeah.
Mentally.
And so the entire time, I think we had already talked about this, and
Perhaps.
it's come across my research and stuff. So I had already known
Oh, you knew?
which turtle
That's
it
a
was.
bummer.
I did.
But yeah, I thought that was a
Like a good reveal.
good reveal.
Did you like it? The reveal?
yeah.
Yeah. So what overall, like, thoughts? I mean, Will shared quite a bit in the beginning. Like, what are your kind of overall thoughts on it besides being dark and you liked it, Patrick?
I mean, I like the art as well. I like a lot of the same things Will did.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think it's easy to appreciate so much of it.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of cool things that happen. There's a lot of interesting parts. It is well written. The pacing's good. Weird to see Baxter Stockman's like some crazy like cyborg or something like.
Yeah.
The assault on Baxter's fortress is like it feels
was-
like an assault.
It
You know what I mean?
It was basically D-Day because they were on a beach.
Yes.
It was.
They were like gunners up above,
Yeah. He's like, I gotta take down
chopping them
those
down. When I was
turrets.
reading it, I was like, I think they're trying to get almost like a
Normandy feel.
Normandy,
Yep.
like storming the beaches kind of moment. Which I thought was weird because you would think that would be more when they were going up against Hiroto.
I know. Yeah.
like
I
the
keep
main
wanting to
antagon-
just say Shredder
Yeah, I'm
because
like,
he
it's not-
has a suit.
He's like
He does.
He's Shredder's.
because so you have like
grandson.
Batman Beyond, so this is basically just like Shredder Beyond.
Yeah,
it's
right.
basically the same.
That's a good.
difference.
We'll just call him Shredder Beyond. Whatever.
Okay, Shredder Beyond,
Instead of Hiroto.
Beyond Shredder.
But
Yeah, but then you get to the end and it's like a 1v1. Michelangelo versus Shredder Beyond,
yeah,
and I'm like, okay, this is a lot better
then like a
Like,
Beaches in Normandy scene.
than like him having all these other people because I'll get into that later because it's actually kind of like my favorite part.
Mm.
But
Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I enjoyed. But I mean it's Turtles, so who's surprised? No one.
Right.
Like no one's surprised. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think of parts I want to mention that aren't my favorite part, because I think I know what my favorite part was. I really like the art designs on like the robot security forces. I thought they looked really cool.
Yes.
yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, like the RoboFoot soldier, like security. They just had like cool designs to some of those bad guys. Also, I felt like, did you guys think that they drew April, especially in her initial reveal, that she looked kind of like Sarah Connor from Terminator?
A little bit, yeah. Like,
Did you think that?
yeah, but
I
she
didn't
had
pick
the
up on
same
that.
kind of
Yeah.
like red hair,
But like her
but
face,
then like the wrinkles on her face
Yes.
and everything is like, what if we kind of mix those two together?
it looked like they were like, what if we take April, but we kind of morph her into Sarah Connor a little bit?
Right?
Yes.
Well, I was thinking the Shredder suit was a lot like the Liquid.
The
Terminator.
T1000 or whatever it's
Was it-
called.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
that's right.
You're right. Because
So
the
this
normal.
is- And there's all that, like, they have to like shut down the power source for all the tech and everything.
Yep.
Oh, so it's like it's a TMNT Terminator. That's what it is.
With some Batman sprinkled in.
Yeah, because you got to have some Batman.
Gotta have some Batman sprinkled in.
Yeah.
It's the spice of life.
I can. Batman is the spice of life. I can get behind that. Oh yeah,
Put it on a shirt.
we're gonna have quite the merch line one
Heck
day.
yeah, we are.
It's gonna be amazing.
I believe it.
So yeah, those designs I thought were really cool. I thought the seppuku moment
Oh, after he
was
fails.
like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, that was heavy. For those of you who don't know what seppuku is, it is when a samurai is dishonored, basically,
Yeah.
or like they try to allow him a last moment of
Yeah,
honor.
it's like ritual suicide.
Yeah, and so he fails in his initial assault on Shredder Beyond's big tower. And because one thing that I don't think we said is it's basically like the island of Manhattan, but walled off. It's like a protected city. And so this big tower is where Shredder Beyond hangs out. It's his main base of operations. And Mikey does this huge assault and almost manages it in the first issue. Mm-hmm. But you know he's going to lose.
Right. It's the first issue.
And he's committed to doing this to the death. Like he's like, no, I'm gonna like I'm going to die in this, and I don't care. I have to do it. And so because he has survivor's guilt, like he
Severe.
does
That's
severe
one of the
survivals for survivor's guilt.
the main like plots. One of the main
Yes,
points
because
to
he
the
is
story.
haunted by his
Yeah.
brothers because
Right.
of that,
Yeah.
and they're always telling him what to do, even in death.
Just like when they were alive.
Dude, when he says that, he's like, "This is almost as bad as when you were alive," or whatever he said.
Right.
Like, yeah. But basically, he fails in the assault, and he's hurt. He's weakened, and he lays out all their masks and weapons and his father's book, and he's like, "You know what? I failed, and I'm dying. I'm not going to let them take me." And he sits down with Leonardo's sword, and he's gonna commit the deed.
Yep.
And he is so weak that he collapses, and that is when he is found by Casey, and she saves him, takes him
Yeah.
to April, and they like save him basically. And I liked that. That was like a good moment.
I did too.
And you get to see April then, and they start rolling. I really liked the flashbacks in this, like when they would
Yeah.
show how each of the brothers died.
Right.
Those were so good.
They were very good. They were very like they died
It was all
in a fashion that suited their character. So like
and the story of Ninja Turtles.
yeah,
Like it
so
felt
Raph
like
just got hot-headed
Oh man.
They got ambushed, and he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna go off on my own and go kick some Foot Clan butt."
You mean Ralph?
Yeah, Ralph.
Okay.
Wreck it, Ralph.
He's gonna wreck it.
And a little throwback to our first
Ninja Turtles issue,
where I accidentally said Ralph instead of Raph. So yeah, he ends up losing to Shredder Beyond's mom.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said Shredder Beyond, but my brain heard Shredder's mom, and it's Shredder's daughter. It's Karai.
Yeah. Shredder's daughter, Shredder Beyond's mom. She's the interim Shredder.
Like the leader of the Foot Clan at the time. Yeah.
Who I expected to kind of like... I kind of wanted her to like wake up.
So she's in cryo sleep because she almost dies. Rafa almost kills her.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. And she's in like a cryopod that her son keeps her in. Which, by the way, when he kills her,
right?
You just don't expect that, man.
No.
When he's like, yeah.
Or
he's
how
like,
about,
I hated my mom, and kills her. And
or
like,
how about when he's
whoa.
by himself on that rooftop and he's like running and then he falls and he's just like, you see how insane he is because he's like, I am God. I'm the master of everything in this city and nobody can do anything without me.
Oh, yeah.
All of these peasants.
Yeah.
The little plebs.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's what I feel like in my apartment. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
That is actually not true.
I know it's not true. I know it's not true, but it was a funny joke.
It was a funny joke.
I appreciate that you said it because we know you don't actually feel that way.
Right. But I wanted to clear the air just in case anybody's listening.
Well, nobody I work with listens to this, and they're all plebs, so.
Well, then.
Okay, we're going to move on before we all sound like Shredder Beyond. But yeah, he was nuts.
Yeah, but like in the panels before.
You know he's nuts because he also kills one of his own guys like early on.
But you kind of expect that. Like, that's not as crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a...
Shredder.
That's a normal bad guy.
Normal bad guy
That's
thing.
like standard. That is a cool panel, though, when it's got like the guy's skull and the stick and the crow's eating it. And...
When he's like, yeah, or you get the same punishment he got, and it shows that his head is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, there okay, he's like a straight up, like, good bad guy.
Yeah, like he's a bad dude.
Yeah, he's bad.
To
but,
the
like,
bone.
Yeah. In those moments, he was very much, like, in control. And in this one scene, you see just how absolutely insane he is.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But it was... I wouldn't necessarily say it was the same as the... Because what was it? Blue Beetle, the movie? No. What movie was it? It's Guardians of the Galaxy. So, like, the guy who was not Star-Lord. I'm botching this. Rocket's dad. Like, the scientist.
Yeah.
He was, like, very much in control in most of the scenes. And then he just goes crazy.
Right at the end. There.
At the end, and that just causes him to lose. Whereas this, you see how crazy he is, but he never... That's not what is his downfall, ultimately.
Not really. I mean, he is overconfident, for sure.
Overconfident.
Well, when you're thinking about that about yourself, who wouldn't be?
Well, yeah, when you think that, and you have a T-1000 suit that, like, can change and self-heal and stuff, like, aside from Michelangelo's... like grenade and determination. Like,
I mean, wasn't there also like big Foot Clan police robot things, like more like mechs like that?
Yeah, he fought those earlier,
right?
And then when they shut the grid down, all of it.
It really is Terminator.
Yeah. When they assaulted the beach for Stockman, Stockman had some like super.
They call them Terminators in the one scene. Somebody calls them Terminators, I think.
Well, there you go.
So just as like a reference.
Fan theory confirmed.
It is part of the Terminator universe.
Right.
That's the fan theory.
Turtles are part of the Terminator universe.
Baxter Stockman created Skynet.
Right.
Dude, I would read that. I would read a crossover like that. We kind of did. Never mind. We
Yeah,
just did.
We did.
And we did
good.
and we liked it.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a second part to this. Like it continues on.
So it's not out yet. There is
Okay.
The Last Ronin 2 is coming out this year. They've confirmed is that it's a thing. They've shown the first few pages of the first issue. I think you can find online. Like they released it as a press thing. I think it comes out in the next month or two. Maybe it's March.
We're gonna get on a new comic book.
And subscribe to it
Yeah.
and talk about what we think.
We haven't done that yet.
No, we've spitballed it.
Yeah.
We could do it with the follow-up. They did make a sequel series already called The Last Ronin, The Early Years, and it's a prequel series.
I think I found that.
Yeah,
when
I
was
own
looking
that
up.
one too.
Is
But
that
that's
where,
because I buy Turtles stuff.
is that where everybody dies?
I think it's before they all die. It's the stuff that leads up to it. I think it
Okay.
just fills in the backstory.
So it's just talking about the
Like the truce and different things like that, maybe.
right.
That's my
Or
guess.
where was
Didn't you buy it?
I haven't read it yet.
Oh,
I do have it. I haven't. So I subscribed to it, but I haven't picked it up. I'm pretty sure it's all in my backlog. Oh, I should go and get some of those.
Yeah.
I probably have way too much. In
you probably should.
I haven't. Yeah.
You haven't been there in a while.
I don't subscribe to much anymore. Really, I think all I really subscribe to is stuff that's in the Turtles run.
Probably.
So
I don't know.
I need to. Yeah.
I'm not in charge of your subscriptions.
You're not. You're right. But anyway, so there are some spin-offs and a sequel coming out.
Cool.
Where Casey, I did look it up because I thought we might talk about it. And she wears like a half mask samurai vibe, was it a half mask? But of like Casey Jones's hockey mask.
I wonder.
And she looks scary, dude. And it looks like she's older, like it's even further in the future. And I read a synopsis that basically says, the city's kind of on the brink and everybody's out of control.
Which is what happens when...
And the front cover shows her jumping through the air and the new turtles behind her.
Yeah.
So,
Because that's what happens at the end. There's like this epilogue, and you see that April has like this lab, and there's like a terrarium, and there's 4 turtles in there because she had taken some of the blood from Mikey.
Michelangelo
So you kind of just assume she
is making new turtles.
made her some new Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah,
Tuesday
because
Project.
Michelangelo does die in the end of this story.
He does.
He dies and he's reunited with his brothers in a happy memory of the afterlife or past life or something,
Something.
Yeah, but Casey is also there. It's
which he died
Splinter.
too.
Yeah,
So he's hanging out with all his dead friends
yeah.
at the end.
Right. As all happy endings are.
Yep, you hang out with your dead friends. That makes a good ending.
All right.
So, yeah, that's
Put it
definitely.
on a shirt.
All happy endings are when you hang out with your dead friends. But the assaults, I also thought the fight with Casey Jones and Leo holding off everybody.
Yeah,
That was epic. Like, all of the final stands are crazy cool.
Yes.
Donatello's with Splinter. Dude, Donnie was wrecking people with that bow staff.
Yeah, it was.
That's what bow staffs do.
Oh, man. No, but when those guys are standing there and Splinter cuts all 3 of their heads off with one strike, you're just like, well, he's done. Like,
And he was
this
very-
is Splinter, like, unleashed, man.
You could tell because he was very uncharacteristically, like, violent. Because he's just like hold nothing back. Talking to Donatello, he's like, hold nothing back, my son. Kill them all.
Yeah, and at that point, like, Raph was dead.
Yeah.
Leo and Casey died during that. I think
Yeah.
that was like a joint strike moment.
And I think they assumed Mikey was dead, too, because he was technically there during the explosion, somehow survived.
By the way, that has one of my favorite lines of dialogue. I wrote it down because I thought it was so good. I like when Mikey says, the explosion knocked me halfway across the neighborhood and all the way to unconsciousness.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that is a good line.
Yeah, it is.
knocked me halfway across the neighborhood and all the way to unconsciousness. It was good. But yeah, because he was assumed dead as well.
Yeah.
Which, again, you see how cowardly Hiroto is in that moment, because he just has them fire archer. Like, he just has his archers fire on everybody to kill him, ultimately. And even then, they're like, dude, that whole scene. Every turtle death scene is like, oh, man. Like,
Yep.
it is like these epic last stand moments. And they all die badly. Like, badly. I mean,
Yeah.
you live that violent life, you can die a violent death, right? That's that. Who?
But like at the end when Mikey was storming the castle and he had to fight that like big guy with a big sword.
Dude.
And he's just like, well, I just got to drop this guy real quick.
Right.
And then he goes in and fights the old crow robot thing.
Oh.
And he's like, oh man, I can't take another hit like that. I need something really big.
And
And
he
like I
uses
had to do a double take. I'm like, what did he grab? And then there's like the little panel where you see the big guy's sword,
Yep.
and they're both lying right next to each other.
Yeah, he uses
I'm like, that was-
the big sword from the big dude.
Yeah,
The Buster sword, basically.
basically, yeah.
Busters. Yeah. There were a lot of like really well choreographed epic moments. It had a lot of those.
Yep.
But it also had good small moments, like him with April in the lair.
Yep.
It had a lot of good small moments.
Or like him with Casey,
Yeah.
daughter Casey,
Yeah.
when he became like her sensei. It was very much like a different dynamic.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's kind of when you see him becoming more of like the old Mikey, because before he was very much, not the same jokester kind of clown that everyone kind of assumes he is. But you kind of notice the further he gets to being more he accepts the deaths of his family and kind of suffers less from the survivor's guilt, that he kind of starts becoming more of his older
I can see that.
self, Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say yeep again.
Deep.
Yep.
So, is there anything else? I wanted to make sure we covered all of the coolness. There was a lot to mention. You guys ready to get into the rest of the structure?
Sure.
So, favorite scene. Do you have a favorite scene?
I mean, there's a decent amount of them.
Like legitimate. There, I was like, wow, you could pick a lot of different scenes. A lot of them. Do you have a specific one, Will?
I'm going-
Do you? I was going to
Oh,
give you time
hey.
if you weren't sure. Sorry.
I'm going to go with Mikey's death,
Oh, the finale.
the finale.
Hmm.
Just the lead up to it, just everything. Yeah,
So mine is kind of the
it's
same.
really good.
Mine is actually that moment because like
So wait, wait. When you say the death,
Right.
hold on a second. I want.
yeah.
Do you mean like the moment he's like dead in the like mud, like like the death scene itself?
Right. The death scene itself.
Okay. When like Casey and April get there,
Right.
and it's like okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just wondered if you meant like the fight part of it.
I really
or if you
liked
meant-
the fight. I liked everything leading up to it, but just that was
Yeah, when he's like falling and he's like, oh,
Right, I was
this
like,
is
man.
gonna hurt.
right.
Okay.
So mine is the same, but like
We vibing.
the big thing about the Turtles comics and shows is when they win in the end, they all kind of team up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, are they going to be able to pull that off in this?
Oh yeah.
And so at the end, he's fighting, and he's like, this is a gift from Raphael," and he stabs him in the hand, and he cracks him over the head with the bow staff, and he's like, Donnie says hello, and then he has the sword, and he stabs him through. He's like, regards from Leo, and then he finally
he pulls the
he takes all of
nunchucks.
it. He has like this cloak on the whole time, and he finally rips it off, and it was like the only time in the entire comic that he pulls out his old nunchucks. and then just starts going to town.
And
that's when
dude,
he
was
wins.
wrecking him with that because those are his weapons.
Right.
Yeah, so that's when he fully returns to being Michelangelo and not the Ronin.
Yeah, dude,
And-
that was good symbolism. It was. Because it also symbolized that he finally let go of carrying his brothers with him.
Yeah.
Like it was good.
So it was like their final team up.
Yep.
And you had that huge emotional part right beforehand because he's like, I'm tired of you guys always telling me what to do, go away. But then in that moment, it was like, they were there fighting.
Yep.
So you liked the end, and he liked the symbolism right before it, basically.
Right. I like the end, and then you saw them together and all that.
So
And the emotional part of all that.
Yeah. No, that scene was, every absolutely bit of what you guys said. I'm going to pick a different one. I love the scene where he intentionally begins teaching Casey.
Right.
I love when she comes and attacks him and he's like, "You're slow. That's sloppy. Oh, how have you not been killed?" And he's like drill sergeant instructing her as she's trying to fight him. And then he's doing it and she's like, "Well, maybe if somebody would teach me, because I never," and then he's like, "Be ready tomorrow," or whatever he says. And he takes her on and he's like, "You're going to call me sensei? And this is how it's going to be. It's going to be hard. I'm not taking it easy on you. And if you can't take it, don't ask." And she's like, "Yes, sensei."
But that's like where you get your first clue that she actually has, there's something different. Because she actually, shoves him.
And
he's like, "Oh, you're not a white belt. Maybe that's actually a yellow belt. What the heck?"
Yeah. Well, because that's one thing we haven't mentioned is that Casey from the...
I'm not getting into it. Just say it.
I'm gonna say this is bad science. I'm down. But from the continuous exposure to the Ninja Turtles, who radiate something from mutagen, I guess. April,
No. They ooze it.
They ooze. But April and Casey Senior. Father were oh no, I can't, my mouth wants to talk like that now. Why did you do that? This is so hard not to do. You just derailed me so hard. But they were affected by the continued exposure, which is funny because there's a Superman comic where they accuse people getting cancer from the fact that he's affected by the sun's radiation and that he is radioactive, and he gives cancer to the people closest to him.
What?
So because he's radioactive.
Why is he radioactive? You know what? I'm letting it go. I'm turning over a new leaf. In 2024.
That is because how does Lois Lane then survive?
She doesn't.
Letting it go.
Supposedly, I think in that story she has cancer. I'm going to pull it up, and I think it might be written by Grant Morrison. I'd have to.
Darn you, Grant.
We're gonna pull it up. I don't remember the details. I read it years ago now. So if anybody, Logan, if you're screaming at your radio, send us an email at longbox@guyswithissues.com and let us know what I forgot and give us a call again. Anyway, so Casey and April were affected by mutagen. So their daughter, I almost said April. Casey has super speed and super strength. She is abnormally powerful. She is mutated.
Right.
The ooze runs in her veins.
Slightly mutated.
Yeah, I'm not saying deformed, okay,
She's
or
just
but she is faster, stronger.
Heals
goes
faster.
further.
She's
She has
just
healing factor.
She's just a little oozy.
Yeah. So, I like that moment where she tries to get him to teach her, and they have that little impromptu sparring moment, and it's like one of the good establishing heartfelt moments between the two of them. And it kind of endears you to her character a little bit more too at that point. Nothing had really taken place where you necessarily were really behind her. But at that moment, I think that it kind of brings the reader into her character a little bit better. And she ends up becoming a very prominent character. By the last issue, she's splitting the narrative. She becomes kind of a secondary protagonist. And she is the protagonist in the sequel. So as a teacher, I believe. So yeah, that was my favorite scene. That's what I'm going to say. There are a lot of good ones in it. Like I said, I really enjoyed Splinter and Donatello's last stand. And it also establishes why Hiroto's so terrible as a human being, I think.
I mean, Donatello is the best turtle.
Yes. Although he's like, it was Mikey. Mikey's the one that survived. Mikey's the one that wins in the end. I was like, Will would pick a thing where Mikey's like the best turtle, whatever.
I mean, I do have the Michelangelo thing on my keychain.
That's adorable.
It is.
It was a gift
Yeah.
from a friend
So,
who listens to the podcast. Thank you.
But doesn't work
thank
with
you, friend. Who doesn't work with you.
No.
That was funny. So did you have a favorite character?
April.
Really?
Yeah.
Because she was a scientist?
Sure. Let's go with that.
No.
No, I just really liked her relationship with her daughter and with Michelangelo and all of those interactions. I mean, if it wasn't for that final fight scene, it probably would have been one of those scenes that were my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a really well-developed character in this. Like, really good.
I agree.
And she's like a general in the rebellion. She's like their leader.
Right.
Sarah Connor.
It's a trap.
He's an admiral.
I know. You said the rebellion. That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, I know. What about you?
I think you know.
Is it going to be Michelangelo?
It's going to be Michelangelo.
What? Mind blown.
Yeah.
Not really.
Good job.
I mean, he was my favorite turtle before,
And
and he still is.
And now he's just even more of your favorite turtle because he's a survivor. My favorite character will not be a villain this time. I'm going to pick Casey because I thought for a new character, they did a pretty good job creating somebody new that felt like you were invested enough, interested enough that the fact that she's clearly going to be a focal piece of the sequel, I feel like her character was interesting enough that, I could see her being worth reading the sequel about. I can see that it adding value.
Yeah.
So, and just being, I think it's challenging to take a story with such established characters like April and Mikey and stuff really being at the forefront and adding a character who's going to share a lot of screen time that's new that feels like a good character. I think they did a good job. So,
Cool.
I'm going to say Casey. Did you have a least favorite scene?
I'm going to say any scene with the Mousers in it. Because I don't know what it is. I don't care for them.
Just in general.
Just in general.
Well, just so you know, when we go back and we read the second part to the original series, like the next issue or two or whatever, it's Mousers.
I understand, and I'm accepting
Just a heads up.
of it.
I'm just telling you, heads up.
Maybe it's the name. I don't know. I don't know what it is I don't like about them. I don't like them.
Yeah. A staple of every version of Ninja Turtles has Mousers. So that is just going to be your pet peeve when they show up. That's going to be the thing that you do not like. So scenes with Mousers. Interesting. Did you have a scene you didn't like?
I mean, not really. Not one that was like super detrimental. I thought it was kind of random. So like towards the end, it might have been like the last issue we read where Casey, the daughter, finds out, she has mutagen. But like right before she has that conversation, you see Mikey with the Splinter's journal, and he writes something in it. Or it looks like he put something in it. And then she says that, so it's like, oh, he told her, but then you find out that that's not what happened. So it's like, how did she's like came up with that on her own, I guess. I don't know.
That's how they sold it.
That she understood.
That she feels like she's known for a long time because she's always been faster, stronger than her peers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can just like kind of reason that out for yourself, but it was
Are you talking about like when she punches the concrete and she's like, why didn't you tell me? Because I'm clearly different.
Yeah, like that was just kind of like this random moment. I don't know if it needed it.
I don't
like,
think it was bad, but
no, but like
as
far as
I'm not dissing your choice.
I mean, it made they needed to create some manner of conflict between her and her mom, because then that comes in later when Casey goes down and is trying to save her mom,
Which was a cool scene. That was a cool scene too.
Yeah, who she's assumes she's drowning because they shut off the power, and so the layer starts flooding as she's trying to get the old drains back up and running.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh my gosh, my mom's still down there, but her mom's already prepared and has a scuba suit, and she doesn't. And so it kind of shows her like she's still young and hot-headed and
slightly mutated.
Yes, yeah. Young, hot-headed, and slightly mutated. That's a shirt.
That is.
Oh, this issue has a ton of good shirt ideas.
Good job.
Yeah, I'm trying.
But yeah, I mean, if that was just me trying to come up with something.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
I feel like there was a scene that I was kind of eye rolled at, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't know if this was it, but it is the scene where Shredder kills the guy he's like sparring with. I'm just like, listen.
Oh, like Shredder Beyond?
Yeah, sorry, Shredder Beyond, Hiroto. When he kills like his first guy, when he's like, "Come at me, fight me like you mean it," and then the one guy cuts him, and then he kills him.
Right.
And that's such like a cliche. Like, granted, I get that Ninja Turtles is supposed to be like an homage to a lot of that kind of stuff, and in old like kung fu movies, like that's what they did, and that's what bad guys seem to do. I mean, Vader does that, right? Every time Vader gets angry, he like kills the guy he gets mad at.
Right.
But sometimes I'm just like, come on. Clearly, if these are the guys that you had sparring with you, these are supposed to be like your elite. They're probably part of your guard. And you're going to get rid of one of your best dudes every time you get angry because they like get a hit in on you. I don't know. Part of me is just like, that is, every time I'm just like, that is silly. That's just a silly trope.
It is.
It is.
I've always thought it was.
You say that, and then it reminds me of the robot chick in Star Wars. Where like it's the meaning of all like the little, like his little generals and stuff, and they say, he thinks he has the power to force choke us. Honestly, he doesn't.
And then
we just pretend. And so we're gonna train you on how to fake being choked, and then we're gonna put a mustache on you, and all of a sudden you're gonna become Sergeant Leopold.
That's ridiculous and hilarious. So yeah, it's not, again, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Will. I didn't really have a scene that I was like, I didn't like that. That was probably just one that stood out as being like, I just think that's silly.
I mean, why do you think I picked the Mousers?
Yeah, right? Because you're just
like,
I
don't really have a scene.
You're like, I never like Mousers, so I'm going to pick that.
Right.
Yeah. Did you have a least favorite character?
I mean, you'll never guess.
Is it going to be a Mouser?
Yes.
You just you're like, if they're
That's what
on the
sticking
page.
With. The problem, it was really well written. I can't really pick a least favorite character.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Mousers.
I accept your answer.
Yeah.
No.
What about you?
I think I'm going to go with, what's his name? Stockman.
Stockman.
Yeah.
Baxter Stockman.
The creator of Skynet.
Yeah.
The creator. Yeah. He's kind of underwhelming as a bad guy, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
He just gets beaten by whoever Dr. Honeycutt is. He was
Dude.
the robot guy. I think.
Fugitoid?
Fugitoid, yeah.
Which is awesome. See, that's one of those things that as a Turtles fan, when they showed Fugitoid's head, I was like, that is awesome.
It was one of those things that I'm like, if I had known more about Turtles when I read this, I would probably been like, oh.
No, for real.
Because it felt like a reveal.
It was a huge reveal.
Fugitoid sounds like a band name.
like Super Murgatroyd.
Right.
They could be our band name.
I don't think it can.
We're going to start a band.
Look, I still need to learn my saxophone.
So, yeah, I get that. Fugitoid is from the future, and he's in pretty much every single Turtle series in some capacity.
But we were in the future.
Yeah, but he's from
So was that the time he was from?
No.
Oh.
Actually, in that version, maybe he I'm Porgy Piggin over here.
That's all, folks.
He's from Dimension X. He's not from the future. He's from Dimension X. So pretty much all the time. I think I was wrong. He's from Dimension X.
Cool.
He's a scientist whose consciousness is put into an android body that he created.
That's fun.
Yes, and he does come to play in the IDW series and in the originals. He's from the original series. He's like issue 9 or 8 or something. I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know. I have it. I have the original issue. It's all beat up, but anyway. My least favorite character is going to be Hiroto. And not because he's like the bad guy. It isn't like when we said the devil or like, it's just he's kind of a little bit of Azrael, okay?
He does have a little
He
Azrael.
is a little Azrael. He's whiny mama's boy, okay? He
Even though he kills Mama.
he does.
So I don't know how much of a mama's boy he is.
Well, but he was like my mom's fault. I hate her kind of vibe to him.
So he has
And
mommy troubles.
he has mommy issues.
He has
mommy issues.
Right.
And sometimes he was just a little too bratty feeling for me. He felt just like a spoiled rich kid.
I mean,
It basically is.
wasn't
Yeah,
he?
I mean, yeah, that's the problem. He was annoying to me sometimes. I was like, listen, this
That's
kid
fair.
just needs, you bring that spanking because this kid needs discipline. And he did.
Mikey did.
He brought it.
He did.
So, in the end, I would say Hiroto.
He brought him
Just because he was whiny and annoying sometimes. He was a little Azrael once in a while.
Yep. Mousers.
Anything else you guys want to mention? I think we hit it all.
No, I'm good.
I think we covered it pretty
Pretty extensively.
extensively.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Because I kept wanting to, in that initial part, I was like, wow. But what are we going to rate it out of? What would be a good one?
Size.
That wrong kind.
Foot soldiers.
Like Robo.
How many feet?
Robo foot soldiers.
Mousers.
Oh, we could do mousers.
Jeez.
We could.
We can do mousers. That's kind of funny. That makes it ironic a little bit. Although, that scene where he goes to fight Hiroto at the end, and he's just annihilated every guard. Like, you see him fight his way through all the guards in the first issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was cool. It was a cool opening. You got to see him fight the gauntlet. But in the end, they skipped all the fighting and just showed everybody dead in all the hallways and stairwells and stuff.
Right.
That was cool. That was a cool scene. But anyway, you said foot soldiers, and that's when my brain went, oh, yeah, all
Sure.
those dead ones.
We're not rating anything by dead foot soldiers.
Oh, we could do it by dead turtles.
Or no.
Oh, okay. Dang it. That was a runner-up idea. Okay. We can do it out of mousers. Wow. And I haven't even been drinking.
I mean, technically.
Okay, I haven't been drinking alcohol.
There you go.
So, Patrick, out of 5 mousers.
I mean, I liked it enough. I would recommend it. So 5.
Oh, it had to take his rule.
Had to take my rule.
Because I was also going to give it a 5.
That doesn't surprise me.
Hot diggity.
And we all, do we have to ask Chris what he thinks of a Ninja Turtles?
See, you're going to say 3, right?
Hey, to be fair, I didn't give all the Batmans 5.
I know you
okay?
didn't.
No, it's a 5. I could give it a little less because those types of stories aren't always my thing. But the fact I enjoy this one so much, I think that's a testament to how well it's written. So I'll give it 5. Another solid 5.
Another solid 5.
We'll have to do the spin-off miniseries.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll have to check out more. But now, normally we haven't been saying what's coming up next. We kind of kicked that to the curb.
Right. We're not doing that anymore.
But we are now.
What?
Just for this issue. Because
so we're locked in for next week is what you're telling me.
Well, ish. Do you guys know what is about to change?
Everything. Sorry, I had to. It's going to become February.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
And we have plans for February.
We're doing the couples thing.
We're going to be visiting some couples. And by the way.
I
went to Bean Feast.
I don't know what's going on in this podcast today.
I don't know what he said. It sounded like I want a bean feast.
It is. It's from Willy Wonka.
Oh, okay.
Good job. You picked it up.
Yeah.
You're picking up what he's laying down.
So I did some research trying to plan these couples, right?
Yeah.
And we know that my wife suggested Nightwing and Starfire.
Okay.
That was one. And that's an old school one. I think they may have even had like a failed wedding issue or something like that. I don't remember.
I think, yeah, because they were going to have a wedding, but then Raven kind of got crazy, and so he had to leave. And
what?
I didn't know anything about this.
I may have just I may have just spoiled it, but there you go.
Wow.
My jaws.
Just what?
My mouth is literally hanging open right now. Okay.
All right.
He broke me.
I was literally just about to say I broke Chris.
You did.
Pull yourself together, man.
I'm still beside myself that you even knew what was going on. Because it's like an issue from like the 80s or something. Like, dude, you're blowing my mind. Actually, I think it'd be the night. Anyway, doesn't matter. Be sure you're checking the description in the podcast. If you're reading along and you're like, Couples Month, I'm down. Then make sure you check the description. We will always have what we're reading listed in the description for the next week's episode.
That is correct.
So please give us a like, review us on all of your podcast websites, and come on, we need it.
We do need it.
We need it.
We need it.
We need your traffic. Okay, help us get to more people.
That's why we don't. Pat, he parts all the traffic. It's the Pat magic coming back to bite us in the end.
I can't confirm or deny this.
So I hope you're all looking. We are excited to do Couples Month, I think, and hopefully you get to enjoy that along with us.
Yeah.
So
be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that means I'm Patrick.
This is Will.
And I'm Chris. And we are Guys with Issues.
So many issues.
You can catch Guys with Issues on it.
You can catch Guys with Issues wherever you can find your favorite podcasts.
Or check out our website at guyswithissues.com, where you can listen, find reading lists, follow along, and get to know us better.
Send us emails to longbox@guyswithissues.com and tell us your thoughts or send us suggestions on what we should read next. We would love to hear from our listener. Listen, his whole family is like that, okay? They think Pat has magic.
They do. It's the dumbest thing.
But they do. And Pat's family thinks that he basically has like the easiest route of everything all the time. That's probably including games.
No, it's mainly with driving. They swear traffic parts for me as I drive down the road.
He's like the Moses of the highway.
Park all the red lights. And...
So like if I come up to a stop sign on a normally busy street and then I stop and look both ways and then I can drive out, they call that pulling a Patrick. There are times where I have been driving up to a railroad crossing and a train just leaves as I get up there, and they call that a super Patrick. I think they're crazy. They swear that their commutes are much harder than mine all the time. And I don't believe them.
I don't believe them.
I don't believe you.
I've been with okay, this is going on the record. I have been with Patrick and seen red light after red light before. We've been stopped by a train.
Yeah.
It
happens.
It's not a thing.
It sort of is.
I'm vouching for Patrick.
When Pat and I were on our way to...
He's got it the opposite. Sorry.
When Pat and I were on our way to Fan Expo into Chicago, the oncoming lane was just jam-packed with cars. Okay, for 2 miles of solid, just stop traffic, right? We go to Fan Expo. We have a great time. We're heading back. Crystal clear. No stops. Nothing. We just sail right on through. So Pat's family, you're right. Just keep on keeping on.
I tried to finally.
I try to as well, but they don't believe me.